Okay, so we're going to actually get started. It looks like we have a good group here already. And if anyone comes in a little later, we will be sending a recording of this after. But just want to start out and thank everyone so much for joining us today and showing interest in coconut. Purpose of today is really to give you some insight into who we are and what we do, as well as walk you through a product demonstration. We do have quite a diverse group here of banks and credit unions joining us today. So we will be bouncing between, the terminology of member and client. So apologies in advance. But let's start off with some introductions of who will be joining us from Coconut. Perfect. So my name is Maggie O'Rourke. I am an enterprise account executive here at Coconut. What that actually means is I work with credit unions and banks that are interested in Coconut and potentially partnering, and I work with them from that initial interest and learning about their current process, what challenges, what needs they might have, and educating them as to how some of our other partners have worked with us, all the way to working with the champions within their organization and building out business cases and really getting buy-in from other stakeholders to help them drive their initiatives, whether that be for digital or innovation within the credit union or bank. And I will let Chris, my partner in crime, introduce himself.
Thanks, Maggie. So I'm Chris Dark. I work at Coconut on the product team. The majority of my time is spent as a resource for our company, prospects, and customers. I spend a lot of my time empowering other members of our product team, marketing team, and account executives with market research, product knowledge, and technical knowledge.
Perfect. So we'll start off with an agenda of what we'll go through today. So again, like I said, it will be a good opportunity for you to understand who we are at Coconut. I'm going to start off with an introduction, really, of the inspiration of Coconut, our vision and who we work with. And then I will frame things up for Chris's demonstration by giving an overview of our solution and the key modules. Then I'll pass it over to Chris, and he's going to bring us through a demonstration that focuses on the omni-channel strategy and how we fit into that. And then lastly, I'm just going to take a second to really outline some of the main business benefits and impacts that we see across the board. And we do want to leave a good chunk of time to questions. I always ask, don't be shy as you're going through things here. Go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A option. You should see it on the bar of your Zoom toolbar there. So you could put any questions there, any comments, any ideas for use cases. I really would love to get a discussion going. Thanks so much. Okay, so to start things off, I want to just start with something that I think we can all agree on. So we can all agree that, consumer expectations have definitely evolved at, an exponential pace, and coupled with technology trends. There really is quite an impact on how banks and credit unions are doing business today. And, for the past few years, there has been an increasing amount of pressure to actually reinvent yourselves. But, what does that mean, reinvent yourself? We hear a lot about the pressures to go digital or digital first. And when you drill it down, what all these industry changes really mean is just in the past, as a provider, you were able to dictate how the customer would engage with you. But now the way that service is delivered is really dictated by the consumers and how they want to do business with you. So it really is that experience and choice, not just location or channel that represent banking and credit unions' greatest threat and opportunity. And we're seeing this manifest in certain trends in the industry. Three of these are main ones that I hear again and again in my conversation. So one is, the challenger entrance. So these new challenger banks implementing new acquisition strategies and leveraging their digital channels. A great example is Amazon. They have a huge customer base and also a large amount of data to go along with that to personalize experiences already, and they're looking to move into that financial space. Next is, channel migration. So we know that about 94% of teller transactions are now done online, which is great. self-service options are what the consumer wants, and it does have a benefit for banks and credit unions. But the fact is that these high-value relationship building conversations for things like mortgages or estates, still consumers prefer for that to be face-to-face. So how are we able to balance our service delivery model? And last, and probably, in my opinion, the most pressing is the intergenerational wealth transfer. So in the next 10 years, in the next decade, 21% of your clients will experience wealth transfer to their heirs. And these heirs, 90% of them actually would change advisors or their provider from their parents. And so these are millennials. These are Gen Zs who didn't grow up with paper-based, multiple-step ways of doing business, and are we prepared to do that? But to take kind of a step back here and maybe a deep breath, really what we see and what we know, the biggest differentiator and value that your members and your clients look to credit unions and banks for is really that expertise, that advice on topics that really are not black and white, something that I can't Google and find the answer for. But it's fairly obvious, yes, we can do more digitally, but the need to see a human and get that advice is really weighed against convenience. And right now, convenience is winning. So this is really the question that we should all be asking ourselves, and I know many are. How are we going to bridge the gap between the digital and the physical channels to really create a holistic omni-channel, word of the day, customer experience? And so to bring it back to Coconut, this is Catherine. She is our CEO and founder, and a bit of a hero to me. We started Coconut in 2011, but really it was about 2 to 3 years ago where we asked ourselves, what do we want to do? Like, who do we want to be? We've done really, really well building quite a strong enterprise solution that can handle the complexities of scheduling for large institutions. But what we notice is with the trends that I just spoke to and the projects that we'd worked with large banks and credit unions, those were the ones where we were actually seeing the most amount of impact. And then it was interesting as well when we looked into the market of scheduling or appointment scheduling. There are a lot of players out there, and many are actually trying to swim upstream to work with banks and credit unions. But there's still catering to those salons, the spas, pharmaceuticals. And as much as it is the same, we learned that it really isn't. And we wanted to be the best at one thing. And so we decided, let's focus on that appointment-driven, human-centered experiences, specifically for financial institutions, and not just retail, but virtual mobile advisors. And so that focus really allowed us to go deep and build a product that is the leading provider of digital scheduling solutions. And over the past 2 years since we've decided to shift, we're very proud to have brands, like Capital One, RBC, and over 40 credit unions recognize us and partner with us for the thought leadership and our focus on their challenges. So I guess a good way to wrap up this introduction to Coconut is with a customer example. So Jackson Hewitt, they're not a bank or a credit union, but they are quite substantial in how they deal with a large amount of appointments within a specific period of time for income tax returns. And for them, they were noticing, with these challenger entrants like TurboTax or whatever it may be, there was quite a decline in traffic, and they wanted to make it easier for their customers to actually come into the branch and get the extra value that they offer, which is that human-to-human advice-based services. And so since they implemented online digital scheduling, they're using us in over 6,000 of their locations, and they're scheduling over 1 million income tax returns each year. They've seen some really amazing results, such as just overall an increase in traffic and booked appointments, decrease in no-show, and just a higher conversion rate, really because they were able to communicate with their clients, through notifications and everything on what to bring. So definitely a really big success story for us, and we're seeing very similar results from other partners as well. Okay, so next thing, now that you got an idea of where we came from and who we work with, I'm going to jump into and just give you a bigger picture look into what our solution actually is and what it's included. So the Coconut software digital scheduling solution, it's really broken into 4 key modules. And so that's that online self-service appointment scheduling, the back office staff management and reporting. We have a contact center, specialized admin interface, and our lobby management and in-branch queuing. And so really it's designed to help financial institutions compete in today's rapidly changing landscape, but also tie together key touch points, whether your client or member is coming to you online, to your lobby, to your contact center, and create one end-to-end experience and one source of truth for all interactions. And then with the latter, just connecting all those dots and all that data from those interactions with our analytics into one robust system. And so with advanced appointment scheduling, this is an option to put it on your mobile app, on your website, but really open up a 24/7 way for your members when they're ready to talk to somebody to actually go ahead and schedule an appointment, whether they be on the couch at 10 p.m. or on their lunch break. And then allow your advisors to log and prepare more information to create a personalized experience. We have our contact center solution, which really we know with this channel migration, contact center is becoming more and more that first line of defense. So giving the contact center the solution to be able to field a request to connect them with somebody without having to pass them off to a branch and potentially lose an opportunity there. And then last but not least of the channels is our lobby management and queuing solution. So it's we're not in the business of alienating any of your members or clients. The branch is still a very important place for you to do business. But really, how can we kind of think about that branch of the future and make it an efficient place, but also make it an easier, more enjoyable experience for your member. And that all filters down into our reporting and insights. So a great way to get a snapshot all the way down to an individual advisor or service level, all the way up to branches and organization wide to understand as you're making these changes, what's working, what's not. And all of this can be also imported into any sort of business intelligence you're using today with the other data. But to wrap it all up here, as a basic introduction, the 3 main pillars of the main advantage of what we're offering is providing your customers that convenience, the personalized interactions by removing friction and making it easy to bounce from channel to channel, while also aligning your operations, improving workflows by leveraging that data, and also optimizing your workforce by empowering them, giving them back more time to do what they do best, which is those human-to-human interactions. Perfect. So hopefully that brief introduction sets the stage and gives everyone more context of who we are, what we do. I'm going to pass it off to Chris now, and he's going to drill down into more of the details and show you some demonstrations.
Thanks, Maggie. So yeah, I'm going to do the omni-channel strategy demo, which will show you how Coconut can help you with your omni-channel sales and marketing strategy through scheduling to provide your clients with a seamless banking experience. And in turn, this will drive more leads and traffic to your institution and branches. So let's start the omni-channel customer journey where most do, and that's with a Google search. So here you can see we've searched for Palm Shore branch hours. Palm Shore Financial is a fictional financial services institution that we created for the purposes of today's webinar. So you can see that here the client has searched for Palm Shore Financial and it's the first result. So they click on the first result and they're brought to the Palm Shore Financial website. Here you can see there's a great example of the website channel or the desktop browser channel where they can see the book appointment call to action. Before implementing Coconut, clients would have to go to the branch, phone a branch, or find contact information for a specific advisor at a branch. Now they can just simply book an appointment online. I'm going to show the appointment booking flow in just a minute, but first I want to show one other feature of our system, and that's one of our most powerful features, the ability to create booking shortcuts. Booking shortcut will take clients to your client view with the information pertaining to staff, service, and location pre-filled. For instance, if you have a page on your website that advertises buying a home, you might have a call to action that prompts clients to book appointments for a mortgage. You can see here on the page that we put up for Palm Shore Financial, we have a welcome home, buying or selling, we've got your back, book appointment. If the client were to click on book appointment here, they would be brought to the booking flow, and they would have the mortgage service pre-selected, and all they would have to do is pick a time and enter their details and a location. We believe booking shortcuts is an incredibly powerful feature because it essentially empowers your institution to have infinite channels. For instance, you can see that you can generate more leads through your social media, like the Instagram examples here, or your email signatures to book with a specific advisor or staff member. You can really put a booking shortcut wherever you want, but for instance, you can see in John Smith's email signature here, he has a line, want to discuss your options for buying a house, meet with me. If a client were to click meet with me, they would be brought to the client view or the booking flow, and they would see that John Smith has been pre-selected, the service mortgage has been pre-selected. If John Smith works at more than one location, all they would have to do is select a location and enter their personal info, and they would have an appointment booked. So I'm going to show you that client view booking flow process right now. So we're just going to do a normal client view experience. This does not have a booking shortcut, so we're starting from the beginning. You can see that there's a list of services here. These are fully customizable, so you can put whatever you like. For today's webinar, we've just put in some common financial services here, like mortgage, savings account, line of credit. The rest of this page is also fully customizable. You can see that we've added the logo for Palm Shore Financial, and we've added some colors, but these can all be changed. So for today's demonstration, I'm just going to click on mortgage service, and then we're brought to the location picker. It's important to keep in mind that we can also facilitate virtual meetings that have video calls and don't take place in the branch. But for today, we're just going to select the Anaheim West branch. And you can see that we're brought to a page that shows us all the details about this branch. We have the address, we have directions, and the hours of operation. I'm interested in booking tomorrow, and the hours are between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., which is perfect for me. Now you can see so far on the left side, we've already booked the service as a mortgage, and we've selected a location. On the left side of the screen, we can see every step as we go through. The information gets updated to keep us on track. You can see here we have a question. Do you have a preferred staff member? We have the options to select someone who speaks English, French, or Spanish, or any other specific staff member. This is a really great example of an innovative feature that helps take complexity away from booking for our customers. For instance, if you have lots of clients that speak only Spanish, it would be silly to book them with someone who only speaks English. And that's what this feature enables. For today's demo, I'm just going to select anyone available, and then I'm going to pick tomorrow because that's when I want to see someone. You can see the list of times that are available tomorrow are all highlighted here, and it will be the same for every day, any time that's available with any staff member. So for tomorrow, I'm going to pick 3:30 p.m., and all I have to do is enter my personal information. So I've entered my first name, last name, just going to quickly throw in my email address. You can see here I've entered a mobile number. If the client selects this box, receive appointment notifications via text message, not only will they receive an email confirmation, but they will also receive text message confirmation and notifications. You can see here there's an option to add appointment details. There's more customization available, but for now we've just added this one box. Since it's a mortgage service, I'm just going to tell them that I want to buy a large house. And then I'll continue. You can see there's a quick summary of everything I've selected so far to make sure that I've done the right thing. This all looks good to me, so I'm just going to book an appointment. Now we're brought to the confirmation page. You can see that there's this appointment successfully booked message, and once again, all the details. You can also see that I've been booked with John Smith, that same staff member that we saw in the email signature before. You can see there's also the ability to cancel an appointment or book another appointment. For now, I'm not going to bother because I'm quite happy with the appointment I booked. So back to the slideshow. Once I book my appointment, these are the notifications I'm going to receive as a client. You can see the email has a manage appointment button and is fully branded. These emails are completely customizable. If you were to click the manage appointment button, you'll be taken back to the client view where you can cancel or reschedule your appointment. There's also an example of the text message that you'll receive with a link to manage the appointment from your phone. Staff members also receive these notifications if configured to do so, but we integrate with the calendar that your organization currently has. So Exchange or G Suite or any other calendar. If a client books an appointment, staff members will be able to see it in their calendar provided by your organization. So for instance, John Smith, if he had an Exchange calendar, this appointment would just show up in his calendar as booked. Booked appointments will also show up on the schedule page. So I'll do a quick demo of that now. The schedule page is a great place for staff and managers to organize themselves. This is what the page would look like to a manager. You can see all the branches that I manage, as well as all the staff that work at them. For instance, if we look at the Anaheim West branch, which is where I just booked an appointment, you can see that my appointment is here. I'm currently viewing for all staff. If I were to view as John Smith, you would see, here's my appointment. The appointment page, the schedule page is also a great place to capture the in-person leads from a physical channel in your branch. If someone came into the branch and wanted to book an appointment for another day, this would be a great place for a staff member to book them. Just click on a time slot and you can book the appointment here. Another great channel is Reserve with Google. By partnering with Google, Coconut makes booking an appointment at your institution possible through Reserve with Google. Your clients can book an appointment through Google Search, Google Maps, or the Google Assistant. They'll just click on the See Schedule and Book button, pick a service and a time, and the appointment will be booked for them. The contact center is a great way to capture appointments from clients who phone into your branch. Previously, contact center staff members would have to cross-reference numerous systems, spreadsheets, and maybe even emails with individual advisors. Now we've made this really easy. You just select a service, a location, a staff, and a time on the left side, and then click Book Appointment. Only available times will be shown, and the system does all the heavy lifting of cross-referencing all the calendars and making sure that staff are actually available. Finally, we have the physical channel in the branch, which is your lobby. Coconut's built lobby management kiosk for self-serve use by clients. Oops. Just going to switch to the iPad so I can demo that. So you can see the self-serve kiosk here. We're also seeing lots of banks and credit unions have a greeter operate the kiosk on behalf of the client. When the kiosk can be used for the client to check in to an existing appointment. They just tap check in, they enter their email or their phone number, and it will notify the staff member that they have arrived. Staff member can come and greet them in the lobby. Further, if the client wants to, they can book an appointment at a later date by tapping on the book appointment button. Finally, the client can join a line to be served right now. When they join the line, they see the screen of the services similar to what you saw in the client view online. You can see that there's a "You will be next" indication here, showing that there's no current line. If you were to click on mortgage, you just have to enter your first and last name, your phone number, and you'll be added to the line. You can see that you're prompted to take a seat, and it tells you that you are next. If there were numerous people in the line, a wait time would be shown. We calculate wait times using our algorithm, which takes into account numerous factors. Some examples are the number of people currently being served and waiting, the service you're in line for, the number of staff, and the availability of staff, and more. When a client joins the line, they'll appear in the queue screen of Coconut. Your staff will be able to serve them from there. We'll quickly show a screenshot of that. So here's the queue screen. You can see that this staff member is now serving the top person or the person at the front of the queue. You can easily start queue appointments and finish them from this screen. If someone were to join the line and then leave, You can set them to abandoned, and our recapture technology will send them a message to have them book an appointment in the future. Finally, all these channels provide data that you can use to make business decisions. You can access this information from Coconut's Insights page. From this page, you can see high-level information and then drill down from there. This overview page is a quick and easy way to get a snapshot of what's happening in your organization. You can see that you can change the time period in the top right here, but I'll stick with this month. You can see that there's been 1,021 total appointments this month. Then you can see some other useful information like most engaged staff or most popular services or how many appointments are happening at each location. All of this data in the insight screen can be exported and used in your current systems if necessary. If we were to look at appointments by service, we can gain insights into what's happened last month, can sort by total, and we can see that commercial loans has been the least popular service, whereas financial health check has been extremely popular. This might prompt you to run a marketing campaign for more commercial loans or adjust your service offering altogether. Some examples of more decisions you might make based on this information would be to provide certain staff members with additional training. For instance, if you look at appointments by staff, you might be able to see that some staff members are doing really well, whereas others might need a little bit of assistance. This is a great way to find this information. Finally, we have something similar for the lobby walk-ins. You can see similar information for this month. There's been 6 total walk-ins. We can see average wait time and handle time. You can also see the busiest location, staff, and most popular services. And I'm just going to hand it back to Maggie now to talk about the business benefits.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. I hope everybody now has a better idea of what some of what Coconut does. Obviously, we didn't want to show you everything at once. So absolutely, we'd love to hear your questions at the end. But I always think it's important to speak to what actual impact Coconut can bring to an organization. So we know it can be kind of challenging at times to try and educate and get key stakeholders on board in terms of like the value of digital or the value of change in service delivery. So one thing is Coconut isn't just about digital transformation. We really do impact all lines of the business, whether it's new sales growth, bringing in more leads, increasing conversions for marketing, also reducing the time and steps that it takes to have a completed appointment or completed product for your members, especially business efficiency. So any ways that you can actually reduce handle time in the contact center, we've seen it, our contact center tool reduce handle time up to 50%, create better staffing decisions, and really just make your operation a little leaner while still being able to service your members and clients when they walk into the door to do business with you. And then also customer satisfaction. So really just evolving to meet the needs of your customers while not putting a huge burden on the organization to make changes. Something as simple as opening up, again, that self-serve appointment scheduling so I can actually access and book an appointment in to talk with someone when I'm ready, whenever I want, however I want, as well as providing more personalized service, but while you're gathering more data. And so, some of these points that I have underneath here are just a few of the impacts we've seen. On average, one of our organizations saw a 2.1 times more services sold on appointments that are booked through Coconut. We saw 40% of the appointments booked through Coconut are actually booked in after hours. So a whole new flow of leads were coming through that channel. But I guess the one way to put it is, Uber, if you were to make an example, Uber didn't put blue taxi cabs out of business because they offered better service, and Netflix didn't put Blockbuster out of business because they had better content and movies. It really was they upgraded the way that they offered their services to their customers, and they made it more convenient. And so that's really what we're offering to financial services, to allow them to take charge of that and do it in a very low impact way while seeing high results. Okay, so from there, we'd love to take your questions. If there's any in particular, please feel free to add them in now. Okay, perfect. So I see a question here asking if there's a way to put instructions in the meeting invite. So really, really great question. I'm glad that you asked that. So you can absolutely put instructions in the meeting invite. One of the biggest things that we saw is that not only there is more appointments scheduled and those appointments are showing up, but they're also showing up prepared, which is very important. So you can put important instructions or anything in those email notifications or text notifications that are based on each service. So that's absolutely something you can do. Okay, and I also see another question here. What do you offer as far as support and onboarding help? Great question. So one of the main feedback that I keep getting from partners is that they were always really, really pleasantly surprised as to how set up we are in terms of our project management and customer success. We know your business. We focus only on financial institutions, and so we've onboarded many customers just like yourself, and we've got our system down to a science and essentially pressure tested it. So we can have Coconut up and running in as little as 8 to 10 weeks, and really 85% of the lift is done on our end. And then even after that, from the launch and change management best practices we have, that's an ongoing partnership for us. So we want to, typically we have quarterly business reviews where we get together and really figure out if we're benchmarking towards the goals that you had, and if not, what can we do to change, as well as gather feedback of new challenges, new needs that you have that we can continue to improve our product on. So that's probably the main strength and differentiator I hear from my partners is our implementation and customer success. Perfect. So I see a question here. How does Coconut stand out against the competition? A great question here. I can definitely speak to that as typically I'm in situations where there might be other vendors. Just speaking, I guess, in my opinion, in my experience, really what our partners find is not only, yes, we do have features that other platforms don't offer because we are so focused on credit unions and banks, but really the responsiveness, how agile we are. If there's something that you need, we can get that done. So really making sure that the solution is customized to you, but as well as that, the flexibility we have to integrate into your current system. So from my experience, everybody has a different tech stack. There's legacy systems, there's new systems, and really understanding and having the experience like Coconut does to be able to integrate into those and play nicely. So yeah, I'd say definitely our focus on financial services has helped stand out against the competition. Perfect. Okay, great. And I see a question on how many resources are needed for onboarding. This question is definitely going to be much more fully answered by a member of our project management and customer success team. But typically, what you'd be looking at is you'd have a project manager on your end. That project manager typically is in operations or in IT. And they're going to be the point person between Coconut and their team. So they would be looking at around, an hour, maybe 2 hours a week, just touching in and getting task lists to give out. You'd have someone from marketing. They're going to help us with all of the branding, wording, customization, the socials, making sure that all looks good. Typically, they would need to work with us for about an hour. And then IT for the Outlook integration. So, that would be around 5 to maybe 7 hours of testing and making sure that Outlook integration works. And then other than that, we do have quite a in-depth change management program where we would want to engage someone from your branch operations or just have a champion that can help with adoption and spreading the word. So it's a very pared down response to the resources. But if whoever asked that question, we can definitely follow up with some more information. I see another question here. Does your team do all the customer branding? So I would love to ask a little bit more about that, but just in terms of the setup of today, yes, with the branding itself, really the standard of it is you can give us all your fonts, your logos, your colors, and we can weave that into the Coconut system. But that said, you can absolutely do even more customization. We've done custom client views and everything. So again, that brings us back to the flexibility of Coconut. So it would just be kind of a conversation of what you'd like, but we understand everyone has a different voice, a different brand, so we can accommodate that. Perfect. Okay, great. So yeah, I think I see one last question here. It's the question is simply why Coconut? Definitely good question. I guess that's why we're here today. So with Coconut, if you're a bank and a credit union and you're really looking for a way and trying to figure out what's the best step forward to step into an omni-channel strategy, I know that Coconut will provide a very quick win to do so. It really is simple to implement it. We've been through it. We've gone through the school of hard knocks. With our competitors, like I said earlier, they're focusing on many different streams of businesses, and so anything that we've learned, we definitely apply to whether it be implementation to product. You'll see a lot more advancements and innovation in the tool. So, I actually see the question, why the name Coconut? Very common question. I mean, other than the fact that we had many options for branding, I mean, look how pretty this slide is. But our CEO, Catherine, and Romeo, he's our CTO. They both founded the company together. There was we had a name before, I think it was 24-hour assistant, something not very fun. And one of her mentors said to her, if the name isn't easy to spell, easy to say, and fun to say, it's not a good name. And so they were sitting together in the office after at a late night, and they decided to call it Coconut because we want to make scheduling as relaxing and as breezy as a coconut would be on a beach. So I hope that answers the question. Great. So we'll stay on to see if there's any more questions, but I think we might be wrapping up very soon. So thank you so much, everyone who joined. I really appreciate your questions. And again, this is just an introduction. We really would love to learn more about your organization and speak to some other more examples of similar partners that we have, and see if there's any way that we can continue to help your credit union or bank grow and be successful. So I really appreciate the time.